Good morning. It's Johnny Sunshine. Saturday morning, guys. The 20th of July. Things are heating up in politics in America. Crazy shit. If you're not talking about it, you're just fucking lost, is all I can say. And if you're offended by talking about it, don't let the door hit you in the ass. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, I'm a plumber, but I'm also an American. And this shit means a lot to me. Always has. Since I was a very young kid, I was interested in politics. Literally, my mom, she thought we needed to be informed. We needed to know what was going on in politics. I remember, man, I believe it was August 9th in 1974, Richard Nixon out as president. That was earth-shattering, groundbreaking, not groundbreaking. That's usually a good term. But she made me and my younger brother and my sister, who was my donor, she made us watch that stuff on television, man, so that we were informed. And it was a big deal, man. It was on the headlines every single day, kind of like the situation we're in today with politics. This is going to be more about what I think the Democrats should do. I am a Democrat. I'm a proud Democrat. Are they perfect? Hell no, they're not. And I would like to just give a shout out to our Attorney General. I can't think of his name right now. But what he's been able to do in his 3 years in office is he's convicted a lot of people, man, of wrongdoing. And Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter to him. If you're breaking the law, he's coming for you. Menendez, perfect example. He's a piece of shit. Senator Menendez from New Jersey. He was on the take. He was getting paid, and kind of like just being honest. Thomas, the Supreme Court Justice. That guy's getting taken care of, man, by billionaires. He's getting paid. And it definitely, he's like, what do you want me to say? And he don't say much. He's been there forever. He hardly ever makes a fucking peep. Because he's a fucking, he's a criminal, man. And so isn't Menendez. And he's got the balls to actually say he's not going to resign. I think that if you've been convicted, you're fucking of a crime like that. Obviously, he's selling, his vote to people, working for our enemies. They need to pass a law where these guys, it's against the law to run again. You'll lose your ability to ever run for office again because you cannot be trusted. So, yesterday, I made a statement at the end of my video. Some of you may have caught it, some of you may not have. But this is my vision for the Democratic convention. I would have, in the backdrop, I would have pictures, Donald Trump being at the very center of it, like a crime family. You've seen them pictures of crime families, and it starts at the top and then it goes down to the lieutenants and all this other shit. And I would just put a picture of Donald Trump up at the top and, put the facts right next to him. Impeached twice. No doubt about it. He was impeached 2 times for fucking doing illegal shit, man. The only reason he didn't get booted out of office is because the Republican Party has become a bunch of sycophants. They're afraid of this guy. They never go against him, but they all know he's wrong. So he's at the top of the crime family. The second tier, I'd put all the people that he chose himself to put in government. The people he surrounded himself with. And the fact that there was a huge turnover during his presidency. People were coming and going. Not just little jobs. Chief of staff. Every single chief of staff Donald Trump had is not voting for him in this election. Mike Pence, the vice president. Donald Trump basically put a hit out on this guy, man. It's fucking crazy that these people are actually considering to vote for this guy with his track record. I would put that shit up there. I would put up all the people that are in jail right now, including all the people on January 6th who somehow he thinks they are patriots and that they're hostages in a political war. It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's really surreal. I would do that. I would have that shit front and center to remind people just how bad it is. And then I would also concentrate on this 2025 plan, which, we all know Donald Trump has a real issue with the truth. If his lips are moving, he's probably lying, it's been, people have counted his lies or his stretch, the guy is capable of like 3,000 lies a month. It's just fucking incredible. But everybody's going along with it. The corporate media, because corporate media knows if Donald Trump gets in office, they're getting tax breaks. And it's all about money, unfortunately, guys. It's all about money. So yesterday on my video, I said, as an American and my vote, we all have the right to vote. If you have the right to vote. Unfortunately, a lot of Republicans, and I know a lot of them, I live here in Sarasota. Fucking Democrats are hard to come by down here. But the first thing out of their mouth is money. How much it costs for gas, how much it costs for fucking groceries. And if you believe that Joe Biden is responsible for that and not the corporations who are raking in record profits since COVID started, they raised the prices and they never lowered them. It's just ridiculous. That's what they're concerned about. But the problem is when you hand a guy like Donald Trump all the power in the world, and he really is more friendly with guys on the world political stage like Kim Jong-un or whatever the fuck his name is from Korea, North Korea, South Korea, I don't know which one it is. Vladimir Putin, fucking Kim Jong-il, or the guy who runs China and this guy in Turkey. It's pretty scary, man. And I just think about, I said yesterday at the end of my video that my vote is not for me. I am a 60-year-old white male in America. And if you don't believe that this is a flexing of the muscles of the white men in America about retaining their power, and then you're just missing the boat, man. I mean, that's the reality of it. This guy, he's got the white supremacist vote all wrapped up, Trump. He's got, he's given a wink and a nod to a lot of people like the Proud Boys, and you know, and that precipitated January 6th, man. So what I would do as a Democrat, and I will tell you, it's all about optics. When Donald Trump came strutting down, walking out into that the RNC, you know, the optics of that with him and his bandage on his ear, you know, compare that to, you know, Joe Biden stumbling down there, possibly falling, and then he gets to the mic. And unfortunately, the combination of him having a speech impediment and the fact that he has really aged since he became president, that shit has a tendency to do that to you. I don't think he's, you know, I think Donald Trump's probably a fucking speed freak. And that's just my opinion, guys. Don't be hating on me. I'm just telling you what I think. I mean, I disagree with a lot of shit you guys believe in, but it is what it is. So anyways, I would say to the Democratic Party, this is a fucking all hands on deck situation here in America. Because for the first time in our history, we got a fucking guy and his little son Donald is thinking he's next in line, you know, in the you know, when his pop becomes king, and eventually he'll die, because that's just the way it goes. Whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire, you're gonna fucking die someday. And you know, next in line is Donald Jr. And for some reason, these people look up to that family, which is just incredible, especially because a lot of his support comes from the evangelical vote, these supposed Christians. But Donald Trump violates every tenet of the, and you could list them, you know, they're pushing this shit about the 10 Commandments. Start at number 1, man, and I could give you 10 fucking examples of how Donald Trump doesn't live up to that. And you can go through every single one of them and come up with a book on each one as to how Donald Trump does not live up to the 10 Commandments. But the fact that they're pushing their religion down the throats of people who don't want it. I mean, America, the basis of America was that we were all free, you know what I mean? To do what we want to do, to believe in a God that we want to believe in. But to force everybody in America to live by their Christian values is just, it goes against the Constitution. Simply put, it goes against the Constitution. And if I were a Muslim or you know, I have very limited education on all of this stuff. I'm just telling you how I feel, and that my intuition and my instincts tell me that this guy is really bad. But to force our religion, to force a Muslim child to stand up and, you know, have to be exposed to reading, you know, the 10 Commandments and somebody else's religion, just seems not right to me. We did have a thing called separation of church and state in America for 250 years. They seem to want to abolish that. We've got a Supreme Court who is just, precedence doesn't mean anything to them. They're enabling this guy. They're doing everything they say the Democrats are doing, which they're probably not. They're guilty of it, man. They're projecting when they say that, you know. I mean, we got a runaway Supreme Court here, man. Every single one of them lied to get confirmed. They knew that they were going to vote to overturn Roe v. Wade. But if you look at their testimony in the hearings, They all said it's been on the books for 50 years. It's precedent. It's been challenged fucking 100 times. And then they overturn it. You know? It's crazy. So when I said yesterday at the end of my video that I was afraid, not for me, my vote is not for me, it's for other people. And unless you live under a rock, you probably know somebody who's black, you probably know a Hispanic, you probably know an illegal immigrant because he's the one cutting your fucking grass and doing all the work around your house, putting the roof on, painting your house. You know, these are hard-working people. The very low percentage that are criminals, Donald Trump is trying to turn them into, you know, the whole basket of fruit. They're all like that. Well, that's just not the case. So, my vote in this election is for those people, for women who, these people are crazy. Even in the situation, they really, truly in their heart, they don't want any exceptions to the abortion law. And, you know, if a poor woman has already been raped, and which is a terrible thing, and then to force that woman to have her rapist baby, just is unbelievable, man. I mean, they've really... and they believe this shit, that women are second-class citizens, man. Any woman who's a strong, powerful, smart woman who challenges them, they try to throw her under the bus. Hillary Clinton is a perfect example. The shit was going on since the 90s because she had the balls to stand up and say, you're wrong, and challenge them. And, you know, they flexed their muscles. They came after her, and they're still coming after her, man. She's not my favorite person, but a lot of the person that she has become is because of the life that she's had to lead and the attacks that she's endured over the last 50 years or 40 years, since probably 30, 35 years. But anyway, so what I would do, especially if it appears that Joe Biden is going to step down, that video of Donald Trump walking out to the RNC, like I said, it's all about optics. I would have all these Democrats, powerful governors, senators, congressmen, get everybody there and just have them walk out. And we are a coalition. If you're an immigrant or you're somebody other than a Caucasian person, if you think for 1 minute that Lily White, and I'm just saying, you know, if you looked out at the crowd at the RNC, I mean, Jesus, guys, it was 98% white people. And the black and the colored people that were there, meaning people of color, they weren't welcome, man. I mean, what people were saying about the couple of black people who spoke at that convention, they didn't get high marks from the people in the crowd, because it's all about black and white, man. I mean, there's no doubt that that's what this election is about, man. It's about being black, you know. These people who probably do the vast majority of the work in this country, the hands-on people of color, they're targeted, man. What are we going to have? Internment camps? We're going to do this mass deportation? That's going to cost a lot of money. I'm very, very scared, man. I'm very scared, but the Democratic Party needs to have all hands on deck. We need to have every Democratic governor in this country speaking at that convention. To hell with the little, we need the big dogs out there. And we need to figure out, and I'm going to be the first one to tell you, Kamala Harris, She's not my favorite person. Not that she's a bad person, but I just think that for a woman to become the first woman vice president in the history of this country, there were a lot of people with more history, more qualifications. I think she was a great senator. She was holding their feet to the fire. Kamala Harris is not my favorite person for pick as president. Simple as that. We need a strong ticket. We need people who have been on the scene for a while, but young. Somebody, 40, 50 years old, who can, speak, who can articulate the issues that we have in this country, and why we find ourselves in the condition that we're in this country, man. Tax cuts, more and more tax cuts. You know what tax cuts do? It undermines our government, man. Taxes are fucking low, probably the lowest they've ever been in history, man, for corporate America. And they still want more. That's the number one thing Donald Trump's gonna do, is cut taxes for corporations. They're our biggest fucking problem. They weaponize their money, they buy off politicians, and they hurt the American people. Any effort, unionization, they want to get rid of the 40-hour work week so that they don't have to pay you time and a half. This shit all needs to be brought to light, man. Just what they're offering, and it's basically trying to turn this country upside down. And really, they're trying to put the U.S. government out of business, so that they're the top dogs. But I could go on and on and on. I don't have, I'm not sitting here doing a lot of research. All I do is go out and try to make a fucking living. But my intuition and my initial, I think I'm a good judge of character. I think immediately I can tell what type of person somebody is and what their real motives are. And I always ask myself the question in situations, what would Jesus do? And it's not putting little babies in cages, separating them from their families. That's not what Jesus was about, man. That's not what Jesus was about. Jesus went out and he washed the feet of homeless people, bums. He washed their feet. Donald Trump, I think of that fucking video from I can't even think of it, but the guy Al Pacino in that drug movie back in the 80s or 90s, where they push people out of the plane. That's what his deportation's gonna look like. They're gonna fly over Mexico and just fucking push these people out. But the other thing that I really want to stress is that all of these people, all of them, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, anybody who ran for president against Trump, they said, and Lindsey Graham, listened to what they said about this guy, and they were spot on. But if you believe them now, when they've had a 180-degree fucking change in their attitude towards him, they were telling the truth first. Now they're fucking lying. And they know just how dangerous this guy is. His chief of staff, the Marine, retired Marine, the statement he put out about Donald Trump after he served for him, I think Mulvaney took his place, and Mulvaney was out and had nothing good to say about Donald Trump. This Marine said he is the worst human being I have ever come in contact with. So we're going to have to make a decision in this country. And like I said, if you have if you're thinking about voting for Donald Trump and you have a gay family member, and you're going to pull the lever for him, you have to ask yourself, what's going on with you, man? You know, do you really think it's that bad in this country? Donald Trump never says a good fucking word about this country, ever. Ever. He's implementing the oldest tactic in the history of the world, divide and conquer. And he's just not an upright guy, man. He's crooked. We only know this much about what this guy's done to get where he is. He's a hateful man. It's all about him. I've listened to a couple videos that talk about the Antichrist. I know this is, you know, getting into religion, politics, and religion. There's a couple videos out there where a guy goes verse for verse and he talks about Donald Trump being the Antichrist. The fact that people are viewing him as the second coming of Christ. The fact that he thinks he's God, man. Listen to some of those videos, man. I have them. I've been sending them to people. And it's scary, man. But I would say for the Democratic National Convention, the name of it should be All Hands on Deck. All hands on deck. Show these people just how much power you want to give this guy. And again, we know what he did the first time he had that power. This time is going to be even worse because he's got a, you know, runaway Supreme Court who's going to let him do whatever the fuck he wants to do. It's a fucking scary time in America. I mean, I'm a big, outspoken... I mean, there are a lot of people who are on the news. They're obviously a lot more outspoken and more visible to the general public. But, you know, what's he going to do when he gets in power, man? Just round up everybody who doesn't agree with him? And do what with us? You know, lock us up? I mean, that's what Russia does, guys. That's what Russia did to the guy who was outspoken about Putin. The guy ended up dead. You know, a healthy 50-year-old guy is gone. And they'll come up with some bullshit, no investigation. And Trump's in bed with the Saudis, man. You know, the guys who hired somebody to go cut up a United States citizen, cut him up with a fucking hacksaw. These are the people he hangs around with, man. The Democratic Party needs to remind everybody. We have a very short fucking memory in this country. God bless America. That's all I can say. God bless America. And for the people who think that it was divine intervention, that Donald Trump didn't catch a bullet in the head that day, I think it was divine intervention too. But not for Donald Trump, for our country. Because if he would have died on that day, the fucking conspiracy theories would have been going crazy. And the fact of the matter is that this kid, which really kills me, you know, as Donald Trump is standing there, the video of those people who are totally unfazed by a young kid with an AR-15 crawling up a roof at a presidential campaign stop. They just stand there. Hey, Mildred, did you see that guy over there with that? We're totally desensitized with guns. You know, for me, I see a guy crawling, I'm fucking running, man. I'm fucking running. And I'm going to find a cop and I'm going to, you know, I'm not going to yell to him, hey, as you're sitting there with your fucking beer in your coolie cup, you know, hey, there's a guy over there with a gun, you know. Just fucking crazy, man. Crazy times. Unfucking believable. So as this was happening, this guy's belly crawling up the fucking roof. And you're watching him in this person's video. And at the same time, Donald Trump is doing his PowerPoint presentation on how we need to be afraid of fucking immigrants. I'm going to kick them out of the country. I'm going to round them all up. Anchor babies are going and their parents. They're getting the fuck out of here. We don't want any of them here anymore. And that's the lie. And the truth is that we've had more than 300 fucking mass shootings in this country. I'd venture to say not one of them was committed by a goddamn immigrant. And at the same time, he's doing his little PowerPoint. I can hear it, you can hear it off to the right. Donald Trump's demonizing people. That's what he does. A fucking another demented, troubled, white male is crawling up a roof with his dad's fucking AR-15 because they're gun people, we gotta have them. It's my right. This kid's crawling up the roof and he fucking has Donald Trump's big ass fucking head in the crosshairs. Yeah. He took one in the air. He got his ear pierced. Scary. So what I'm getting at with that statement is, am I going to believe you, Donald Trump, or my lying eyes? The problem is not the immigrants. And people are going to say, well, we can't have open borders. You're damn right we can't. Nobody's calling for that. But why the fuck didn't the Republicans pass a bill to reform, immigration reform? Joe Biden, but you guys want to read something? Read Joe Biden's bill. A fucking bipartisan bill to address the border issue, and it just fucking died in Congress because the Republicans didn't want to give Joe Biden a victory. So you got to really look at the reality of the situation, and unfortunately, I just hope that the people, the smarter people in this country get out and they vote, and it's not so much about who the Democratic nominee is. It's about not handing this dangerous, dangerous man power again. He may not leave, man. It's a very real thing, man, that he may not leave. And the Supreme Court said, yeah, he can do whatever he fucking wants. That is scary, man. Very, very scary. He's a tyrant, man. I'm going to end on that. Donald Trump is a tyrant. Have a great day.